In this video, I'll be showing you how to install a double DIN head unit into most Class A RVs. These instructions work on basically almost any double DIN aftermarket radio, including the Jensen CAR 1000. I'm going to be demonstrated by installing a Kenwood DMX 7705S.
Pull everything out you need. Pop the trim puzzle off. Now this is the head unit I'm going to be putting in. It's a Kenwood double DIN. What you need to do is get this sleeve off if it's on. Just take your pin, unlocker. There's a little slot right here. You push them in. Go to the other side. Find that little slot. Push it in. Now you can push that back. You can pull these out now. And pull the radio out of the frame. And put these to the side. Next thing you need to do is determine the top and bottom of this.
This one doesn't have a top or bottom labeled, but the other ones might, so check before you put it in.
All you have to do now is line up and slide the new double DIN frame in. Now you have the new double DIN frame in. Now, if it's too tight, you can always trim a little bit off of the plastic off, but it should be almost a perfect fit.
The mounting frame has a bunch of tabs on it at different thickness levels. So what you want to do is push the frame in and push down the tabs that will lock it in tightly to the opening. And just go around and do all of them. Now the radio frame mounting bracket is tightly secured to the opening. Now we're going to get the wiring ready to connect the radio and slide it in.
Kenwood harness.
Now if you're lucky enough to have the top access panel, you can just take the Kenwood harness and plug it into the radio and slide it in and do all the wiring connection through the opening. I'm going to demonstrate how to do it going through the opening of the frame to install all the wiring and stuff you need before you slide the radio in.
Slide this out. Line this up. It only goes on one way. Snap it in. Pull everything else you need to pull out. This is the reverse and parking brake. Reach in here and see where you can find the antenna. There's the antenna. Pull the antenna out. Is there anything else to pull out? I believe there's nothing else to pull out in here.
You will also have a microphone to install, so decide where you want to install it. I decided I wanted to
drill a hole right here, and I'm able to mount the microphone right here.
This is how I mount the microphone.
You pop that off and you can slide this in and double face tape that right there.
I take the microphone wire and run it through the hole and snap the microphone into its clip, and my microphone is installed.
Now, you do have, on the new radio, you do have some USBs.
Don't forget the RCA video wire like I almost did.
Well, remember there was a USB HDMI cable that was right here. We took that out. You can buy a replacement one that is just double USB. And you just take the nut off. Now just slide these in here into the hole. Pull it all the way through. Line that up the way you want it. Take your nut. Put over the wires. Slide that back down. And come around and tighten the nut up.
Now it's time to start plugging everything into the radio.
So you pull the USB wires through the radio opening. If you don't have the access, you'll be doing everything through the radio opening. They're connected. Okay, that's done. Come over here. Plug in the antenna. Okay, antenna's plugged in. Look for, that's video out, that's front. This is rear camera. Find the video cable coming in for the rear camera. Plug it in. Okay, now you grab your harness. I put pigtail end. I put spade terminals on the end of the reverse and the park that correspond to these. And plug them in.
Then plug in the microphone and then
I
the
can
harness.
plug this into the bottom of the radio. That's plugged into everything. Now I'm going to slowly put everything in and slowly push the wires in. Now I'm not going to push it all the way into it snaps. First thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go outside, put the fuse back in the memory fuse holder, and then turn on the inside power. Okay, let's turn the inside power on. There it is, radio's powering up. I'll set it up later, hit finish. It's working. Now I'm going to go to menu. Agree. Menu. Audio. Fade and balancer right here.
This is why I don't push the radio back all the way to lock in, because sometimes you might forget something or not do something properly, and that's what happened.
Okay. I see there's a problem. Make sure when you plug this in, you plug it all the way in. There we go. Now with all the wires hooked up, make sure you push this all the way together and everything's clicked together. Take it, got all the wires in, slowly put this in.
Now I'll check it again to make sure everything's working this time.
It's turning on. Agreed.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your
Now I'm going to do a couple tests. Let me turn the volume down. Not too much. I still need a little volume. Go to menu. Audio. I'm going to go to fade and balance. Make sure all the speakers are working. That's working. That's working. That's working. That's working. All the speakers are working. Of course, you would only have 2 speakers unless you had other extra speakers. Now I'm going to go back to the home button, and I want to check the rear camera. So I'm going to put the key in the ignition. Not going to turn the switch on. I'm just going to turn it on to the run position, and that should turn on the outside cameras. Then I'm going to hit the camera button, and there's the rear camera. Now with the key on, I'm going to check putting it in reverse. In reverse, it automatically goes to reverse, and the volume stays on. Put it back. Now, in driving, I'm going to put it on the passenger side turn signal. Okay, that's working. The only problem is you're going to have the guideline with this unless you turn the guidelines off. And there's the driver's side. Turn it off, and it goes back. I'm going to go to menu, setup. camera, you can turn the parking guidelines off on this one. And now when you put it in reverse, it will still go to reverse without the guidelines. You can put your turn signals on and it won't have the guidelines on anymore. The other thing you can do with this radio is menu. There's a lot of stuff. This is Apple CarPlay and everything else. It all depends on what you want. Go back to camera. Turn parking. And you can do guideline setup. It won't let you do it while you're in driving. So what you have to do to get into that mode, you have to have an emergency brake on. As soon as you turn the emergency brake on, that's what the brake switch is for. Now you can adjust your guideline. You can move your guidelines and adjust them. Okay, everything's working. So I'm going to turn the radio off. And what you want to do is you want to push this back and you'll hear a click. There you go. The radio is all the way in. Okay, the radio's off. That's clicked and it's all the way in. Take your trim bezel, line it up, and your radio is in.
You may notice I don't have the microphone installed. Well, I'm taking this one back out to install the Bose 10.1 inch next. Now you can reinstall the access panel over top of it if you have one.
Take this back out and install the single DIN floating screen one.